So thanks guys for stopping by. So I'm out here in the greenhouse and I've been watching it. The plants are doing great, but I'm debating on whether to take the shade cloth off. It does get sun in here, but I got a tree way in the back, and since we're into fall, it's creating that more shade is coming on the greenhouse because our sun has shifted a little bit. So it's not exactly into the same position as it was when this greenhouse was started. You know, it's like 70 degrees outside, and we'll check and see what the temperature is in here. But I just feel like my plants are doing great, but I've got plants in the garden also. So we're going to take a look at those, see how those are doing, and compare those to what's going on in here. So let's take a stroll through the greenhouse. Now this is a 16 by 32 greenhouse from Grower Solution, except the wood. And so it pretty much is a customized greenhouse, but it is a very functional greenhouse to grow your summer plants, your fall plants, the spring plants. Now, I have not reached the summertime temperatures to see how it is. When I put this shade cloth on, we were still having summer temperatures. So definitely I wanted to put it on, which I'm glad I did. I wanted it on so I can test to see how hot it's going to get into this greenhouse. This is a 40% shade cloth, and I wish it was 50%, and I think I would have been okay. Now, so far it's done great, but we haven't hit winter yet, but we are fixing to head into December. So here on the southeast coast of North Carolina, our weather can be crazy. It can be 32 degrees, and then in 2 days be 70-some. So it's kind of one of those things that you just kind of got to judge and see if that's what you want to do. But since we have not entered into winter yet, I'm thinking that a possibility, I want to lift the shade cloth off and see how the plants are doing. Whenever you start your greenhouse, you know that it's going to be a test, trial, and error situation. And actually, I was really thinking that with the greenhouse that I could leave the shade cloth on. It feels really good in here, but I just want the optimum growing spurt for my plants. This gives me an opportunity, since we're in the fall, to see how the plants grow, so I'll know what to do next year, basically. Because we know we're in the seasons, you just don't know what the season's going to do, but basically know what to do in the following years. Now, we've had not that much sun. It's been a lot of shade, some rain, and cloudiness. So it hasn't had that much sun. The plants they're looking great. They really are. I'm just watching them, make sure that, you know, they're not going to get leggy. Now, this soil's in here. Started out with topsoil, and then I put a bag of potting soil in there. You know, like you would put into a container where you growing your flowers. So my tomatoes are looking awesome, but I did lose a lot of blooms, even though I'm shaking these plants to try to get them to self-pollinate themselves. Tomatoes in there. So if I even got a couple of tomatoes, that would be awesome. Now, these are collards, but they're looking great. They're doing dynamite. The lemons are doing awesome. The aloe vera plant, pineapples. The onions are looking pretty good. So they're growing. They're doing just dynamite. I just love they got great color. So the plants are doing great. Here in the garden, they're actually looking just, the color's great. I've got some spinach down there, but I haven't picked. Here, as you can tell, the plants are just looking beautiful. That's telling me that they're getting a good amount of sun. They're a little bit bigger, but their color, the shape of the leaves are just awesome. That's the shade cloth on the greenhouse. On the bottom, I just took washers and deck screws, and that's how I put my shade cloth all the way down. The wiggle wire goes up there and holds that end wall's shade cloth on. So it looks great. It's definitely getting some sun. They got good color. It was a hard decision, you know, to take the shade cloth off. or not. So let's go in there and take a look at the temperature. So this thermometer, a little bit shady, says 79 degrees. Sides are open, so it's bringing in the air. There's no fans blowing in here at the moment. So 79 degrees. I have one on this end, but it is in the sun a little bit. It says 80 degrees. This one down here at the very end says 78 degrees. It is in the shade. So besides taking my shade cloth off, since we're in fall, I just wanted to give it a little bit more sunlight on the inside because our weather is so crazy here. I mean, we just don't know. It could be up to 80 degrees in a couple of days. So right now it's really warm out here. It's 70 plus degrees. So this right here I think is going to work. So it's me taking the whole entire shade cloth off. This is what I want to try and see if it does work, and do the other side the same way. Then that way, on days that it gets really extremely hot, all I got to do is drop this shade cloth, and these have a clothespin that's attaching this up to the strapping. And so far it looks really well and efficient. I can see my plants are getting more sunlight. I just want to make sure they get all the sunlight that they need because we're on shorter days. So I will do the other side and, watch the plants and see how it does. Now, of course, into the middle of the raised beds, they're not going to be getting as much sunlight. But, this is a working process. I'm learning as it goes. Most people's shade cloths don't come all the way down like mine. Now, that works great for the summertime. That will, when it heats up, that's definitely what I want. But just to make it easier for me, help keeping this greenhouse shaded, is doing it like this. So I'm going to experiment with this, see if it works. I'm sure it's going to work. When the sun is going to be moving, when it moves closer to winter, it's going to shift some. Of course, it'll go all the way back around. And then, sometimes in January, we're fixing to hit December and January, we could have spring-like weather. But then again, in April, we could have, freezing temps. It's just, you just don't know. But this right here is, I think I'm going to try it like this. If you have a shade cloth that goes all the way down the sides, which is great because it's going to protect your plants from all that heat, keep it cooler on the inside, but roll it up, like these are roll-up sides, roll it up, and then that way, not only is it going to be efficient for the shade, for the sun, for shading, and for the sun to get in there, but also, since the shade cloth is up, it's going to help more air to get into those raised beds. But guys, thank you so much. Just a little tip here, a little general idea, just a little creativity on how to keep your greenhouse shaded. Depends on where you live at. If you live in Florida or someplace like that, this might be an option here. Some place like Georgia maybe, or, Alabama. Someplace in those areas where it gets warm, the temperature is warm, and then it drops, and it's, it's kind of all over the place. This might be an option. I'm really liking this better than taking the whole entire shade cloth off, and then, if it warms up in January or February, we're going to be planting again starting in February as far as the peas and the garden peas and the potatoes. But then right after that comes the spring crop. It comes the squashes and different variety of vegetables like that. I don't have to take the shade cloth on and off. Now, it's one thing if you got somebody to help you, but when you're doing things by yourself, you got to come up with creative ideas. And I like this creative idea. I can already see how much sun is getting in there. But I think my plants are going to just love it. Thank you guys, and see you on to the next video.
we just picked carrots. Now we're gonna go in the house. We'll see you in our next video. Peace out, Girl Scout.
What did you say? Peace out, girls. Out.